them. Very, very important. Number two, to reduce the level of crime. The amount crime is taken from the budget is quite a lot.
Could that do something to do with the employment?
That's what we're saying.
Employment?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying small businesses. It's through the small businesses the employment will come in. That's what we're trying to say. I mean, if you create small businesses, every small business will employ 1 or 2 people, and also the big employment comes in. I mean, I remember a situation of a guy who was almost involved in a young boy who was almost involved in drugs. Just for the sake of £1 an hour, his life changed.
Really?
I was giving £1 an hour. He was a young boy. What was exploitation? No. I wasn't exploiting him because he wasn't doing anything much. It's just to take him away from that. Now, some of these children that you see that are committing crime is for little money, is for chicken and chips money. Do you understand? So really and truly, if government can know that, you know what, the moment you create opportunity for these children to have little pocket money, to have something in them, you find out that things will begin to change positively. And I think that is the focus. Less pressure on Londoners is very, very crucial at this time for prosperity to reign here.
Now, elections, and you've been on a campaign trail, and you've done that. You've gone around, of course, within the boroughs, and you are campaigning very well. And from what I can see, the chances are you will sit. God's willing, we play. You sit in the assembly. You come in. And then, of course, these are issues that are going to come out. They will always come out. Now, we, as black people, sometimes, we look at it and say, look, what is he going to do for us? Because that question has been asked, instead of broadly saying Londoners as everybody else. I had a gentleman who wants to be mayor of London, and I asked him the same thing. The Indians are asking him as well, because he wants to stand, obviously, he's an Indian. And you're standing as a black person, say, look, okay, what are you going to do for us as black people? You begin with us rather than getting a broad one. Do you have anything to say on that? If a black person comes and says, I'm going to give you my vote, but tell me what you're going to do for us, instead of being more open with the whole of London. Is there something specifically that you're going to think in terms of, we need to help our community move? And the first thing I have to do is to challenge or fight for ABCD.
To be honest with you, I don't think when you're talking about the problem in London is common to all.
You don't see that. You don't see race as an issue, and you don't see race as an issue.
No, at this point in time, if I get elected as a London Assembly member, I'm going to be looking at the problem that is affecting the Londoners. Londoners. It's so important. Now, every problem that is affecting Londoners is common to all.
I know.
It's common. It's not about racial or anything. It's about the fact that it's common to all. But the unfortunate thing, I can also say that, the unfortunate thing is a lot of people are very self-focused.
Okay.
Self-focused. They think that problem they are facing is only them. No. It's affecting as many, and fortunately, I get to meet people regularly through some of the work that I do. And when you listen to some of you find out that those problems are unique to everyone. Is it parking? It's unique to everyone. Is it housing? Is unique to everyone. Is it infiltration of refugees? Is unique to everyone. Is it education? Is it crime? Knife is inclusive to everyone. Crime is everyone. Now, all we're saying is, listen, we're not going to be looking at and be thinking, this is what. No, we want the Londoners to have a better life, and that is the focus. If anybody come to me and say, because what are you going to do for black people? I say everything that I'm going to do for all Londoners. That's what I would do.
The reason I'm asking that question is that there is a common factor in the way we are in the UK. Blacks, Indians, West Indies, Chinese, and so on and so on. And these divisions, regardless of whether we want it or not, sometimes we don't like it. We're not racist or anything in a way, but there is always that group, that minor group that, you're going to do. I think we send you as look at what is failing in the black community. Look at what is happening in the black community. Why the knife crime is common among us. Why is this? is there, there could be that particular area where you say, this is what I'm going to do for our community first and foremost. Then the next thing I do is, because once we've learned from our community, we can easily move to other communities as well.
Listen, that is not going to work. that's not going to work. Honestly, Steve, it's not. No, it's not. That's not going to work. You know, you can't segregate your community over other community.
I don't mean separating them. But what I'm saying is that it's going to be asked. It may be asked, but not in the sense the way it is. Steve. But it's going to be asked in. Don't let
us waste time on this topic, on this subject.
You're giving me a political answer.
No, it's not political. It's not political answer. The most important thing I have to, and it's very, very important for you to know this. I've been in politics since I was very young. I grew in a political house. Yes, I was the president of Students' Union back in my country.
Okay,
and I'm good with everybody. Even the office that I use there is in Upton Park. Yeah. If I walk on the streets, you would think I'm an Asian person with the greetings and everything. I don't, seriously, I can understand that every race have unique problems. But to be very important, the most important, and I have to say it clearly now, the uniqueness of our problems is so obvious to the extent that you cannot be saying you want to do this. If you want to,
let me make it this way. I'm not saying that, obviously you as a politician and somebody who is been in office for such a long time, and you've come across this as you go along with different people coming in and out of whatever you do in your office, in your schools, and so on. You can't definitely discriminate. But then there is always that wider view of saying, look, what am I going to do about this? Because I attended the meeting where the police commissioner was saying, okay, the racial issue has come in with knife crime. Can we target the area of knife crime? Why is it? Can we do something? Because you can't say.
But that has. Listen, if a particular race is affected by certain problems, and it's obvious, it's important for us as politicians to make sure that it's addressed.
Of course.
Because it is a problem. And you know, this is one thing about it. When you talk about knife crime, and it's a problem, whether for the black or the whatever race, whoever is affected, the impact of it will affect everybody. Why? Because even if not directly, indirectly, money has to be used, and you've been talking about money for them, to make sure that proper investigation is carried out. The money, the person is punished, sent to prison. So indirectly, it's affecting everybody.
Of course.
So if you say the knife crime is only affecting the black, it's not true.
I think they were targeting.
Yes, some people may be so concentrated, but the overall impact
is the entire community.
It's the entire community, because the money that is meant to be used in education is going to be used to ameliorate the problems that is caused by that. So really and truly, there is no single problem that is created that does not have filtering effect on everybody. Do you understand? So what we need to do is to look at each and every problem as holistically as possible, to know that it's going to affect everybody. Do you understand?
Now, you've lived in London for a very, very long time. And 30
years.
Over 30 years. Some of the problems that are existing now were not existing at the time 30 years ago. They have just come in the next 10, 15 years ago. So 30 years ago, things were a bit different. Things had, they were the way they were very different. Now, the changes that suddenly have happened, that have caused so much to happen, could we simply say, okay, can we look back and see, can we go back to when things were okay? All the changes, then what did we do right then? What was done right then that is not being done right now? Just like, for example, the schools. You saw what was wrong within the school system, and you started the school, and I'm very happy that you know that, and you've corrected whatever you've done in that school, which is, in fact, I must appreciate you for that.
Thank you.
You know, you saw something and you dealt with it. and you're now seeing things that are happening, and you're trying to deal with them. But can the past come back to the present? Is there a way we can look at the past and say,
it's very difficult.
Yeah.
Very, very, because the past has no social media.
Okay. The past has no social media.
The past has no social media.
Okay.
And the social media problems that we have at the moment is so staggering. So we can't take that out of the system. What we can only do is to now begin is to now begin to look at how best we can manage what we have at the moment. Do you understand?
I understand.
And I think that is the very important thing. We can't afford to go back. It's difficult, very, very difficult. The world is moving at an and also some of the problem that was then, because there was no social media, there was no opportunity for people to even see them.
Now I've got to cut you a bit short, because there's a lot here of people who are actually watching us, and they have got comments that they're making. Large corporations, large corporations, for example, I've got their names here. Somebody was suggesting large corporations have need to be taxed more. Somebody suggested that. Thanks for joining. Let us know. This is Omega saying large corporations needs to be taxed more. Others are simply watching, but I'll go through the readings as we go along, and it's very interesting that I have to see quite a lot as they're saying. There's really quite a lot. All of them are very informative. Linda, powerful. Love this show. So I'm so glad someone shared this platform. There's quite a lot. There's quite a lot, if I may say.
We've been working hard.
I know. And their names, of course, they're Ade Joshua, Willie Sophia. Glad someone is sharing this. Obviously, Omwani Oluyo, family structure. Somebody's agreeing with you when you mentioned the family structure. Lisa Natari says it's informative. Watching intensive from a little corner of the world, turning in and listening. There are quite so many of them are mentioning your
because of course we've been in the system for so long. We are all affected by the same problem all over. So we're trying to think that there is going to be one formula that that is not within the family structure. Do you see? Everything that is happening starts with the family. Of course. And that's why the focus. The London Assembly focus should be out to make sure that the families are stable. Very, very important. And that is the reason I'm going there. Not only as a politician, as a pastor, as an educationist, and everything that I have, I will be working hard for the families in London so that the pressure can be minimized, if not eradicated, but at least be minimized.
How are you going to make this voice? Because the voice you have now, if it goes through to election, if the voice you have now, to make it more louder, because the biggest problem I've seen with most politicians, once they enter parliament, I had Diana but years ago, the MP for, I interviewed her years ago in Hackney, and the voice, her voice, she would do her best while she was there. But then still, there is that crunch of the party that was affecting her. Now, how are you going to make sure that your voice is heard beyond London, beyond all parties and so on?
Listen, I've worked with families for many years. As a pastor, you work for families. As an educationist, you work for families. As a counselor, I work for families. Do you see? My focus, and nobody's going to stop me. Because I know that is where the problem is. Do you see? When the family are stable, when the parents are comfortable, the children are comfortable, then you find out that it affects everything else. So if anybody can tell me, maybe we have to be looking at war in Iraq and stuff. Listen, I won't get involved in but the most important thing is families in Britain, especially in London, they are going through quite a lot. My voice cannot be, nobody is going to stop me from screaming. Nobody, it's true. If I have to scream, I have to scream. To make sure that, because you need to go to some families, you would know that is the system that has failed them.
Yeah, but the thing is, newspapers are there, television stations are there. There are other things that obviously are there to create a much louder voice, so that if something is nice and you are going to go through it and see.
I will use every medium available to make sure that this problem that we have within our family structure is arrested. We have to. The children not doing well in education, we have a system that I created through the supplementary education system to help. That out of school learning is one major area that could help the children plow their time into things that are meaningful out of school learning. The more, I mean, there was government white paper that was written many years ago. I think it was by Gov. He was the Minister of Education at the time. Is about out of school learning, and the government appreciate the fact that out of school learning is very important. Now, in London as a whole, you can see 3 o'clock in the morning. What are the young boys doing on the streets? Do you see? A lot of these things has to do with the fact that we are a little bit careless at the way we operate within the family system. And that has to be, support is required. If we don't support the families now, to be honest with you, problems are upon problems, and even more than what we're seeing at the moment is imminent. And that is my view.
Now, I've got to quote a couple of people here. Austin Osis says, knife crime is affecting the whole races, and therefore, and there is doubt about that. There's no doubt about that. But affecting the black race most. What can be done to eradicate this problem in our streets? And then, of course, there is someone else as well who was saying something about big corporation companies should be taxed more in order to cover some of this.
There is no problem. Taxing big corporation more, of course, has been it's always been the political debate. But we need to get it done. Now, that is not, I don't think that is a decision for London. It's a decision for the whole country. Do you see? You can't tax big corporation in London without taxing the whole nation. Do you understand? So that is the decision for the House of Parliament, I know, to take on board.
With your
but we of course, I will support them. Anywhere we can get the money, I will support that vision and that proposal. And also, the area of knife crime, I will still say that the necessary control has to be taken at the initial stage of childhood. You see, there is a prevention and there is cure.
Of course,
So both are there. To prevent knife crime, we need to increase the commitment of children into positive action. Out of school learning projects, very, very important. Out of school learning may not necessarily be for educational purpose, it could be recreational purpose. In terms of football and all those sort of recreational, but to ensure that we engage these children, something that is meaningful, very, very important. So that when the parents are gone out of school, there is a structured system where the children can continue to learn whatever they want to. Very, very important.
The problem I have with that, it's a good idea, and it can easily pass to other politicians and so on. But you've got to sell it to the parents. It has to be sold to the parents, because the key problems in most of these ideas is that if a parent doesn't buy it, or if a person who is supposed to be interested in it, who it's going to help, doesn't buy it, then you, in the end, however much you're going to put it out there, and the person who said, well, is it going to increase my money so that I take time, I have to, out of schools will mean a parent paying some money for that child not to be somewhere. Otherwise, someone has to look after that child. It's not going to be free. you can see how childcare has been a bigger problem.
Yeah, but
and the government has started to step in and said, okay, some of these nurseries have got to be looked after. They do the same in Canada and Australia.
Yeah, I can understand, Steve. Listen, let me tell you this: we spend more money in curing the problem that we do not prevent. If you spend more money in prison, you spend more money. Now, what you're saying is the government should build more prison. That's what they're saying. Do you see? If you have supported these children in out-of-school learning at the initial stage, every child has something they love to do.
Of course, of course.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Even if it's mobile phone that you love to press, but you give them something meaningful to use it for. It will change their focus and they become more positive minded. You will say that what you're saying is, okay, we should leave all that because we don't have money, but we should be looking money for bigger prison.
No.
That's what is coming to me. But what I'm saying to you is, everybody have to make sacrifice.
Of course.
But it's better to make the sacrifice early.
I agree with you.
No, you are not. I don't think so.
I agree with you.
You need to make the sacrifice. Parents must make the sacrifice early.
But what time?
My project is £2.50 an hour. For supplementary education. £2.50. And I'm telling you, we have never used government funding. We have never used funding. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm sacrificing to make sure that the children have something to do after school.
Okay.
There are many more people out there that will do the same thing. £2.50 an hour. You can come. You can bring your children. £2.50 an hour. I'm sacrificing to make sure that these children are not wasting the time after school. So they come after school. They come on Saturdays. They come and learn extra. Do you see? It's in a relaxed environment. It's not, do you see? What I'm trying to say to you is, there are people that love, that are compassionate sufficiently to give themselves to this type of services. But the issue is, if we come to a point and we're saying, where's the money? What is £2.50 an hour? And another thing, Steve, I will have to tell you. Some parents, even the £2.50 an hour, they can't pay. I'll still allow them to come for free. It's true. Do you see? Some people, I'm serious.
So
some people
you lose out.
Yes, I still do that. Honestly, some people can't pay. It's a live program. Some people can't pay, and I'll still say, you know what, madam, don't worry. If you can't pay, but
maybe next time. Okay, the thing is, your ideas, it's a very good idea, and it's a practical one, because you've done it already. You've done it already, and it's working. You know, now the whole idea, why I was asking and going on and on about it, is to try and sell it to others. Because once you see a product is good, you said, oh, this thing can be sold to someone also and make interest. Because that is where my problem is, selling the ideas. Because what you're doing, the Jews are probably doing it, the Indians are doing it, you know.
Of course.
How are you going to sell it to a wider audience?
Yeah, but I mean, it's just
because they will probably listen more to what the assembly says or the parliament says.
For instance, we have supplementary school, we have out of school learning. That's in Newham. I'm the chairman of out of supplementary school in Newham. We have groups of people. Do you understand? Organization knows that we do that. In order for people to get to know, we are trying to get the council to help us to publicize this project more within the community. Do you understand? But of course, we have to check what the people want. But I believe strongly, I haven't done this for 25 years. I've seen the practicality and effectiveness of it. And I can tell you that for us to stop, to prevent knife crime, to prevent all this, we need to engage the youth. We need to engage the children. Another thing, let me say this. Most of the students that left my supplementary school, some of them, they came back to teach the young children. So they go, and for just as little as just paying their transport money in volunteering, they come and do that. Now, that's another thing. I can tell you the number of children, the students that have left that school and they have become a teacher now. They are now, even one of them is now deputy head of a secondary school. One of them is a charter surveyor. There are some of them that are lawyers, doctors and stuff like that. Now, a lot of them, they will come back and still come to support, give back to the children that are there. For as little as nothing. Now, if we do those things, encourage it, what we'll have a compassionate community. And when you have a compassionate community, everybody will be looking after the good of others. What is happening at the moment is a system where, when I became a councillor in Canning Town South, the reason why I got elected is because of regeneration project.
Okay.
The regeneration project we are having is disconnecting communities. Do you understand? So the communities are scattered. So when there is no cohesion within the community, everybody is a stranger to each other. They don't know each other. Do you see? You don't know who is living next door to you. You don't know who is there. So there is no way the children bonding will be there. So a lot of those things are very important. But when they come to community projects, they get to connect. There is connection. Because somebody from a different school is coming with somebody to a different, they come from different schools. They come from different background. We used to have about 9 different nationalities in our project. There is no segregation. 9 different. We have Asians, we have Somalians, we have everybody. They come together. It's an informal dressing. You don't wear uniforms. You don't do those things. Do you understand? But 2 things are done: education and character check. We help with the character. The way you speak, the way you do those things, you are corrected and stuff. Do you understand? And that has gone a very long way to make the project a success. £2.50 an hour without funding.
Now, you have the past experience of the borough, obviously. Newham. And but somebody would question you and say, look, the problems of Newham are different from the problems of Hammersmith, for example, of Croydon or something like that. They are different. Each borough has different problems. You may have some things which are similar. Now, the past experiences that you've gone through, what are you taking to the London Assembly as in terms of what you've gone through, the experience you've had? Now, you say, I'm going to a bigger audience now. I'm going to a bigger arena to play in the bigger arena. But the bigger this arena is, as the things that we have said, money, this, that, it's bigger than Newham. It's a much bigger arena. The bigger budget, bigger this, bigger, everything is bigger. There has to be something which you're saying, okay, this is the experience I'm bringing in of not just the education, but also of the people I've met over the years. The corporation, these guys are different, the way they behave. Corporations, you go as an assembly member, you're going to meet top executives and corporation people. You're going to meet bigger politicians, those who sit in the House of Parliament, the prime ministers and so on. These people have got bigger. There has to be something in your past experience, someone who's going to vote for you, what are you taking there? That will show that you have arrived on the next stage.
I mean, like I said, I've got an experience as a local councillor for 4 years. I was an opposition. Actually, I was an opposition to the Labour Council. I won under Christian People's Alliance platform. I became the first Black Christian Democratic councillor in Britain. That has its own challenges and pressure. It's not easy to be an opposition among the Labour Party. So it has given me the resilient ability to stand against any opposition whatsoever. So, and I know that decision making is not easy. I sat in committees and stuff. I have experience of budgets. Our budget is allocated and stuff. I didn't work directly, but I was part of the councillors that approve budgets. So with my group, of course, we have to analyze the budget and so on. So that experience is there. Not only that, I work daily with constituents. Having my constituency, what's it called? How do we refer to it? We have our surgeries. Do you understand? So it's the same approach in a larger scale, maybe. Do you understand? To have your surgeries, to make sure you look after the people, to be compassionate towards them, take their problem very seriously. I have people that even at that time I had to employ extra hand to make sure that constituent their problems and challenges, casework, we call it casework, are dealt with accordingly. Not everybody will be satisfied with the level of inputs that we put, but at the same time, I know that we tried as much as possible to do what we can do for the constituents. So I've been in the government, I've worked with opposition, and I've done that. So that experience goes a very long way. It's different from a person that hasn't had any experience whatsoever. Yes, at all. So yes, I've been trained to be, and I worked successfully for 4 years to do that. And I believe that going forward, getting to London Assembly, I will be using the same experience that I've had in the past to make sure that every person that have issues and challenges are looked after accordingly. It is, listen, so there is no problem that is too small. It's true. You may look at your problem and say it's too small. Every problem is unique to everybody. So from my point of view, I believe that every single person that will approach me as a London member will have proper attention without favor or segregation.
The reason I ask that is the corporation people behave differently. The directors of massive companies, the bank directors, these are top people who have looking at and could even say, listen, I don't think we like this man. Let's get him out of the way in the next election or something like that. The way they look at how they are, they're from another planet because they handle bigger sums of money. They are, So I'm looking at it.
I can't be afraid. I can't. No way. I can't be afraid. Listen to me. Listen. I'm not
going to be afraid.
No. But, I don't. Seriously.
You need to play the politics on a different scale from what the kind of politics they play.
No. Okay. Listen. I'm not going to go there and be politicking. At the expense of the people that voted me there. I'm there to represent the people that voted me there. If what they want is fair and will be beneficial to Londoners, I'll be on it. If it's not going to be beneficial for Londoners, to be honest with you, I'll be seriously against it and I will campaign seriously against it. And that is the truth. Because I'm going there because, listen to me, I'm going there. I'm not going there for corporations. I'm not going there for banks.
No.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not going there. No, I'm going there for Londoners. And listen to me. It is up for the Londoners to say, okay, I'm going there for the Londoners. If what you are bringing, it's going to be beneficial to the Londoners. To be honest with you, I would support it. I will, do you understand? We didn't leave. But let me tell you, when I was a councillor, that was when we won the Olympics. Olympics started then. Do you understand? Of course, there will be pressure here and there. But having said that, you don't have to get involved with that. I don't need to get involved with the pressure. I got involved with what matters to the people. That I was not involved with anything Olympics, apart from the fact that I went on tour around it. When they're talking about this and that, it's none of my business. What's the cost of councillorship? I'm not interested in contract. I'm not interested in anything. I'm interested in making sure that the people that elected me get the benefits of their trust in me. And that's what I'm going there for. Any banks, any parastatals, any others, they're on their own. I'm not interested.
No, what I was expecting, because there's a lady, she was a councillor, Eva, I can't remember her second name, but I've had interviews with her years ago, and says, look, when she became elected Assembly Member of London, that's when she got exposed to the major cooperative companies and the banks and the way these people operate, the way they lobby. There's certain things to be done on either their behalf or in certain ways. And if you haven't met any of the top councillors who have been there for a long time, who know how the games are played in such a way that if it's a water company, for example, wants certain things to be dealt with, and they go through the mayor's office, so they go somewhere else, then it comes back to the council, and then it brings up a fight. Then a fight ensures between the assembly members over certain issues that they don't, and the corporations are looking at their money. So they start a campaign that could easily bring you down as one of the assembly members or something like that. These are things
when we get
that are played in the political background.
Steve, let me say this. When we get to that bridge, we will cross it. But I'm telling you that I'm so resilient. Like I told you, my background, I came from a political house. I've been a president of Students' Union back in my country. I came to this country, I became a local councillor. And I've done quite a bit in the area of parking in this country.
Oh, yeah,
that kind of a thing. You saw that. Now, for me, I've been out of school learning campaigner for over 25 years. Now, all these things are very, very important. Listen to me. The reason why I'm going to that place, if I'm elected, is for the Londoners and Londoners only. Now, every other pressure in terms of this and that has to be looked at objectively.
Of course.
Listen, no pressure. Listen, it's left for the Londoners today. They want to get me out, or they want to keep me in.
Exactly.
If the Londoner says tomorrow that, hey, Simeon, pack your bag and go, I'll go back to my house and sleep well, because I've known that I've represented them well. That is going to be my own decision. It's not going to be anybody putting pressure on me to get a wrong decision over Londoners. It's not going to happen.
Okay. Now, the church issue is also important in a certain way, because several of them times they said, look, if we get a person who is a religious person into a political arena, there is always that element. We talked about this at the beginning of the program, to divide yourself between what people elected you for, what is the truth and how it follows, and what politicians usually do to create, say, look, this is the right angle, this is the right voice, but in reality, this is what a person means. There is a political language which is always used in a different way. The man says this, but he actually means something else. But people get to understand that. You don't want to be caught out in some of this. You've got to learn some of these languages.
You have to be when you are in politics and you are in a church, or you're a pastor of a church, you cannot just be complacent. You have to make sure that you get your facts right. You cannot be bulldozed into doing things that are inappropriate. Of course, we are not perfect.
Of course,
there will be areas, even as when I was a local councillor, there were things that happened that I felt should not have happened. Do you see? There were areas of regrets, personally, that I felt, this area, I wish I
had done
something different. You see, but if it was an innocent situation where it's just not because you were ignorant, or you were ignorant or something. It's just because of course you made those mistakes. It's a different ballgame. But if you deliberately take an action for your own personal benefit, or because of your lack of diligence, that now affects the Londoner, at that point, as a Christian, of course, I have to step down. I have to say, you know what, I got this wrong, and I believe some is definitely wrong. Listen to me. This is easy. For every political person, you must be able to own up to any decision that you have taken without due diligence. You must take responsibility for it. So my going there is not because I just want to. No, I want to go and represent Londoners. If I make mistakes that I felt, this is grievous, of course. Do you understand? As a human being. And the pastor in me is the factor of the pastor in me gives me the greatest, the greatest technical understanding that I have to show fairness. Fairness is so important now, in every situation.
On a personal level, where does the vigor and the enthusiasm come from? Because you're so enthusiastic, you have the vigor to achieve, you have the vigor to put things forward, you have the vigor to make sure that things are in line and so on, and the enthusiasm. This is a personal question. Does it come from your father? Does it come from somebody who is the role model somewhere? Where does it come from? Because that vigorness, and from what I've seen so far, and I heard about the schools and so on, very few people I've met in my life are so enthusiastic.
Oh, thank you, Steve. Oh my God, I'm flattered.
No, because the education thing is, if I was Prime Minister, I could have made you the Minister of Education straight away.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
You have that education thing which is in line, and if you are the sort of person who could even be given £1 billion and said, look, what do you do with this money in education? And then, of course, I know what you will do with the money.
Oh my
because
God.
the enthusiasm is there. But it has to come from somewhere.
To be honest with you, that's a very, very, very difficult question to answer.
Yeah.
Without mentioning God.
Of course.
Do you understand?
Yes.
You know, yeah. To be honest with you, I think all of us, we have something in us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is gifts.
Yeah.
Through, do you understand? It's a gift from our Maker.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? I believe that I'm endowed by my Maker, you know, and of course, ability to develop it comes from my personal experience. Do you understand? From a very young age, you know, like I told you, I was the president of Students Union back in my country.
But a father, a mother somewhere, an uncle somewhere.
My father was a politician. My father was a politician.
That's what I can see now.
My father was a politician. My father is also a very good, is very astute when it comes to issue that is passionate with, about or something. And I think that really informed, of course, my guardian was also a legal-minded man. I'm a legal person. I trained as a lawyer as well.
I know. I was going to say from education, from law, suddenly to come into education. The two combinations. Lawyers are usually chasing money.
Yes, so I've been involved in politics. And I love people. That's one thing. I love people. I love to represent people. I hate injustice. I definitely hate injustice. I love to speak up for people and stuff. But above all, I can only say that it's a seed that's been planted and by God himself and grown by men. Do you understand? Through my experiences, difficult situations, challenges, problems, and ability to be advocate for people. Do you understand? And that kind of a thing, it has now, maybe is what you are seeing this night, to be honest.
As an African, me as an African and you as an African, there is always that question about Africa and how we see Africa and how we see our failures and how we think in terms of our success. Sometimes we think the continent would be a better place and so on and so forth. Just something about the continent that you may feel is not being done right and you think it can be done right. Especially in Nigeria, there's quite a lot going on over there.
To be honest with you,
because I found Africans who don't even want to discuss Africa at all. No,
I'm very involved in Nigerian projects. I am not outside Nigeria. I travel to Nigeria regularly. I'm involved in projects that affect lives of students in Nigeria. I've built classrooms. I've built laboratories. I've done all that, which are, you know, I'm very involved. I love to see life changed, that kind of a thing. For me, I've always said this, if I were given opportunity to be the president of Nigeria, to be honest with you, seriously, I've always said that, the very first place for me is agricultural revolution.
All right.
I've always said that. Agricultural revolution, which will go hand in hand with industrial revolution, then I have to work with the security of the nation, that kind of a thing in that light. And I think that is where the problem of African nations are. I think we're looking at the very big projects. We're not looking at as a very small project, which is agriculture. The land is very fertile. The land is fertile. It's just that we don't have structured agricultural system. You know, when you feed the nation, you feed the world.
Can't it be education then? Can't we simply say the percentage of most of our effort should go into education first and foremost? Because with a middle class that could come out of the education, then you have a better chance of making sure that
I will not start with education. I'll start with agriculture. I will start with agriculture.
But you see, they'll be doing it poorly because they're not highly educated to handle it.
Yes. You see, you have to educate as you do the agriculture. There is no way you have Institute of Agriculture, you have University of Agriculture, you focus on agriculture, but they have to do practical works. They have to be on the field. They have to do those things. Those are the focus. Not that the other education will not be ongoing, but I'll focus more on the agricultural aspect and make sure that, and if look at the farmer in this country, they are mostly millionaires. Do you see? But farmers in Africa,
No, they're very poor.
Now, that's what I'm trying to say. So what I'm going to be doing is to focus more on agriculture at a very high level, that if you are a farmer, you will be so happy and be grateful for that profession. Do you understand? I'm not talking about becoming an illiterate in agriculture. I'm going to talking about being a professional in that sector. And if that goes on, then we now look at what? Industrial revolution, so that the product that we get from the agriculture, we're not importing them, we're also refining them to become a product that we're going to be sent to the external world. And the moment we do that, we can now start to make sure that our police system, that the policing, they are well paid. Do you understand? The elderly people are looked after. The education, because we have resources, which is not, but what we're depending on now is we're depending on the dollars that is coming to the country. The pound that no, we can't do that. The system is failing us. I can always tell you, we need to look inward so that people can respect.
Zimbabwe made a mistake. If I'm to go backwards, when they took the farms away from the white farmers, they were not educated on how to handle, how to deal with agriculture. And that is why so many Zimbabwean farms, which were locally taken over by Mugabe and given to the local Africans, went down because the education level they had at the time. Now they're waking up and saying, hang on a minute, if we had educated these farmers before they took over these farms, Zimbabwe wouldn't be where it is now. I'm not against. That's what I'm saying. Education.
I'm not against education at all. I'm not against education at all. You cannot have a community without a proper educational system. I don't know that for sure. I've been an educationist. But what I'm trying to say, the focus of my education and my attention to agriculture will be huge. Will be. To be honest with you, I'll be more focused on agricultural, not that it's going to affect education in any form or shape. Not that I'm going to close the institution down.
No, of course not.
No,
of course not.
But I'm going to make sure that we focus more on agriculture, that the educated, the farmers will be educated.
Of course.
Do you see? To the level stand. I'm not going to leave what the Germany is doing away. The farmers will come to Germany to see what is positive there. They will travel the world to see what they can bring in, and we will support that system. When that system has been properly created, let me tell you, for example, I think I was listening to a documentary. I hope I'll quote this right. I think it was said at the point that the world is in short of 1.2 billion worth of cocoa. 1.2 billion worth of cocoa, that the world is short of it. Just imagine if Nigeria can produce half of that. Education bill is paid.
You always find a way around certain issues. Because I brought that thing up because similarly to the same thing, what I was saying about the parents here, because I wasn't satisfied with what you are saying about, obviously, with me, I believe that if everything is to be successful with the students, everything comes from the parents. Because when the parents are successful, when the parents know what they are doing, then it's going to be very very good for the children, because the children will learn from the parents. Now, the problem that we have had here in London is that the parents are not, I'm not saying they're not educated, but they are not being open-minded in the way their issues are with the government. So my focus here would see that you get more parents into all these outdoor activities and teaching them more about how to look after their children, especially the out of school, as you're saying, that one. Get more parents in, pay them a bit of money, so that when the parents are okay, then the chances are they will look after the children well. But if the parents are not okay, even if you get the children out of school, do the out of school activities and so on, but without the parents' blessing, it won't work.
No, you cannot do it without the parent consent. You can't. You can't do it without parent consent.
You can do it with they give you the consent, but they are not educated enough to believe in it.
No.
Okay, that's the point I'm trying to put you. Okay, they are not educated to believe in it. Do you have to convince me over something? Then I'll say, I'll convince my son as well to be part of it. But if I'm not convinced, Then how am I going to convince my
Yeah,
son?
but to be honest with you, you have to look at the proportion of people that have been converted already. Do you see the number of people that have been converted that are out of school learning is very important for children. It's much more than people that are still doubting it.
Okay.
That is how it is. Yes, people pay extra money for children to go for swimming. They pay extra money for people. That is out of school learning. They pay for out of parents. I've seen parents. They will take the children to basketball. They will take the children to lawn tennis. They will take the. I've seen that football, everything. They converted people that are. The converted over out of school learning are much more than people that are still doubting it. I can tell you for sure. I've been in this project for 25 years. I'm an advocate. To be honest with you, yes. Now, the only area is the area of some parents will still say that, there will be too much work for them to, can they do just 2 days a week? Can they just do 1 day a week? It starts small. Do you see? Can they just do 1 day a week? But when they have commitments that is going to encroach on their time, they will call you and say, can they increase their 1 day to 2 days? Can they increase that? When their children are starting to enjoy it, they don't even let the parents sleep. I want to go to Saturday school. I want to go to... And you'll be thinking, this child was crying the first day. How come he's enjoying it? Because the pressure is not on them there. We do the work, but we have sufficient time to do recreational activities as well. For them to run around and stuff, buy their whatever chips and stuff, and eat their crepes and stuff. Do you understand? So it becomes like recreational to them. Do you see? So those children will tell their friends will tell their parents, and say, I want to go to the same school. The friends, do you see? And that's how it goes.
Another thing which, again, which may be asked, as a pastor of a church and a councillor, an assembly member, how are you going to manage? The workload will go up of an assembly member. The workload will go up. Now, I don't know how you manage to do it when you are a pastor at the same time as when you are, what is this?
A councillor.
A councillor. But it could have been much easier then. But when you become a London Assembly member, they even have to work overnight in certain times of the day when the debates have been high. It's almost like being a member of parliament. Isn't this going to be affecting your workloads as a pastor? That could affect your church?
No, not at all.
No.
I mean, I've multitasked in businesses for quite a while. I know the power of multitasking. And also you need to know this, that church is not just something that you have to handle by yourself. You need to have assistants. You need to have leaders, capable ones that have been trained. I've been pastor for 17 years. So, 17 years I've been a pastor. And I've been the supplementary is 25 years old. I've done the supplementary school. I've done the pastoral work. I've done my charity work back in Africa. And I go to and fro, that kind of a thing. But you need to understand this. It's just like anything else. You have to have reliable people around you to be effective. Without reliable people around you, it is impossible. You can, regardless of how efficient you are, you will break down. So in my church, for instance, I have effective leadership. Do you see? Effective leadership that are very sound, that can take responsibility, if not even better than myself.
Really?
Do you see? Yes, I do. So I can just say, you know what?
I'm not here for a whole month.
For a whole month because I've got work to do. And that kind of a thing. And everything will run perfectly well. Actually, from one experience, I went to Africa. Before I came back, few people have joined the church. I was thinking, wait, do you see? What I'm trying to say is that you need to be able to have good staff around you, good people around you. And for that reason, I'm not bothered at all for the effectiveness.
The churches have also had problems with the funds every now and then, because when people are poor, because most of the money comes from other people, obviously. If people are not doing very well, then the churches are not properly funded. Have you come across this problem?
Yeah, of course. That is what managers do. You know, as a pastor, as a good pastor, you need to put on your managerial skill. So, I mean, I remember back in those days in Nigeria, when I was the president of Students' Union, I remember there was a riot That riot brought the government to close down every student unionism.
Okay.
And it turned student unionism to club.
Yeah.
So you have a choice to be member of the club or not. GC.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So it's not a club.
Okay,
so it is no more together. Do you understand? So what did I do? Because of course, the moment you don't need a club, you can't tell people to come and be paying money.
Okay.
So what did I do? I produced notebooks. Cheaper. DC. I produce notebooks.
Yeah.
So if you want the notebooks, which is cheaper than the market price, you have to pay your student union fee. Okay. So as a result, everybody joined the student union because they want the notebooks. The same way, as a pastor, during the pandemic, people were not paying money. To be honest with you, my church floated through the process.
Okay, we are coming to the end of the program.
Okay.
And I just needed one last word from you in regards to why do you want people to vote for you and what you're going to do.
Okay.
Lastly,
Thank you. Steve, honestly, my going to that place is to represent the people.
Okay.
Like myself. I came to this country with nothing. And today, I'm not a rich man, but I'm comfortable. People are suffering in London. Conservative have failed. Labour have no hope. They have nothing to offer. Okay. It's the recycling. Do you understand? Now, I believe we need the voice. We need, as common people, we need people that will go there who knows the problem, have been through the process of the challenges, and have been able to stabilize. We need them in the council, in that London Assembly at the moment. The pressure in London is very high. The pressure is high. And if you continue to recycle people that don't understand the pressure that people are going through, to be honest with you, you will still be getting the same results. So my going there is really to provide a representation for common man.
And the difference in the recycle, you are not going to be one of those people with the parties that keep recycling the whole thing. Is that what you're saying?
No, I can't be. I can never be. Okay. I have, my party is Christian People's Alliance. The C in Christian People's Alliance, even though it's Christian, but it's also compassion. Okay. Do you understand? I'm going there with the fact that the Londoners need a break from this pressure. They need a break. And we need people that will go there with that focus in mind. So I'm asking the Londoners to trust the fact that my going there, it is not for any other reason than for new policies that would help the children, the families, and the businesses to come together and bring prosperity to this town. London is a very great city, but if we continue the way we're going now without changing the parameters, the decision makers, and we do not, it is a drastic thing. We need 300,000 votes to make this happen. And in order for it to happen, we need you. So please, come 2nd of May, 2024, I will implore you to please ask your friends, your families everywhere to go there. You will not see Simeon Ademolake on the page, no, but you will see CPA. When you see CPA, you vote for CPA. That is a vote for me and my colleagues. And if you can do that, you find out that come the 3rd of May, we will be celebrating together. Thank you.
Pastor Simon, I just want to say thank you very, very much for coming
here. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
And telling us all about your ideas, and I believe that the ideas, the Londoners and our viewers have taken those into account, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you very much, Steve. Initially I felt petrified about, this, I don't really like to have, but I think I'm very much at home. Thank you very much, Steve. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, viewers.
It's been a pleasure having Pastor Simon here, and all the best of luck on the day, and I do hope we'll be together again next week for another edition of Africa Speaks. Thank you for viewing us, and may God bless you all.
Thank you.